am I hitting in golf? It depends on the course, and I don't play stroke play. I play match play with my buddy, so it's really hard to gauge. But I can shoot in the 80s if it's an easy course. If it's a hard course, then who knows? It could be over 100. So I'm not very good, but any day on the golf course is a good day. But it's supposed to be over, I think it's 103 here today. So this might be my last live stream. I might die on the course today. So if I do, it's been great. It's been fun. You woke left progressives won't have to worry about me anymore. Oh, wouldn't that be terrible if I die, if it actually happens, and then and then if it does happen, I want someone to go live and ask, okay, how many people here are glad Doug's dead? I want names, and then at my funeral list out loud, so and so is happy Doug's dead, and so is happy Doug's dead. So I got about an hour. Recent events. I was on Peter Boghossian's channel last week. Had a great time. I read some comments, heard some comments that I should have pushed back harder on him. The problem is we agree on so many things. I would have loved to have talked more about politics with him, because I do think a lot of the issues he values, the policies, I think he should vote for Trump based on policies that I've heard him say, but maybe there's social policies that outweigh it. I don't know. And then Nathan tried to get on, and I try to get Nathan on through Reed and through him, say, hey, it's okay, be more dead inside. But you got to remember, this is not my channel, it was his channel, and I can't control. You got to accept the things you can't control, right? You cannot, if someone says, I don't like you and you're not coming on, guess what? You're not coming on. That happens to me many times. I've even done that to other people, but there's very few people that I won't allow on. And the people that I don't allow on, it's because I've talked to them like 5-6 times already on live. So what's there left to say? And then they're a bit of an irritant. They're like, pepper spray in the eye to me, some people. And so it's like, okay, I've talked to you many times before. This is enough. Move on with your life. But I do think Peter can be a little more dead inside. I think it would have been, I personally like having people on who hate me, because I kind of like that. Not all the time, but a lot of the times I like that. And of course, there's always lines that can be crossed. But in general, I love talking to people who think I'm an idiot or who hate me. Think that I have blind spots. In fact, since we're pressed for time, let me give you the link. And if you do want to call in, you can. I also want to talk about a little bit of politics. I know some people hate politics, but let's be honest, it's better than religion, right? Religion's been talked about to death. And I know they are intertwined. But what are we going to talk about? The reliability of the New Testament? No. I saw something on Twitter today of Inspiring Philosophy saying there's a new peer-reviewed thing coming out about the reliability of the gospel. To me, this is going to be similar to peer-reviewed stuff on trans issues, citing one person's opinion who's citing another person's opinion who's citing another person's opinion. Like when it comes to reliability of the gospels, that's your opinion. Please don't die, says Puddin' Face. Okay, I won't die for you, Puddin' Face. I mean, if I die, then Puddin' Face will become Sad Face, and I don't want Puddin' Face becoming Sad Face. Okay, the link's in the description. Not the description, in the live stream chat. Are you playing golf or are you watching? No, I'm playing golf. Yeah, it is a dry heat here in Arizona, but it's still hot, especially when you're doing physical activity. Especially like if you're not a great player and you're golfing, you're swinging that club a lot. In the news with Trump being a felon. Okay, I want to give my perspective. And this perspective is more so for Democrats listening or people who lean left to understand where I'm coming from. It doesn't bother me that Trump was convicted as a felon. Not one bit. Because of the charge that he was convicted on. I've said this before, but when I see people rob stores and just take stuff from small private businesses, even big businesses like Walmart, it bothers me. I mean, a lot. I would say, and I'm not exaggerating here, it bothers me 1,000 times more when someone goes in and just takes stuff and then walks out the door. It bothers me 1,000 times more than what Trump did with the hush money case. That's where I'm coming from. And I would say it bothers me 10 times more when I see people take rocks and break windows in private businesses, mom and pop shops and stuff, compared to people taking rocks and breaking windows at the Capitol. It bothers me 10 times more with the private business. I don't view Capitol buildings as holy ground, as something so special and sacred. Now, if they're taking, one-of-a-kind paintings, that's a little more serious. But a window, I mean, yes, it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. But I tell you, it's worse in my mind when it's done to small private business owners. And then their insurance rates go up and they can go bankrupt. I mean, it's terrible. So that's where I'm coming from. So it doesn't bother me. James Kool-Aid, cool kid, Kool-Aid. I'm talking about it now. What do you think of Peter acting like Cameron and banning everyone not talking to Nathan? Yeah, I think he should have just not looked at the live stream chat if it bothers him so much and let just Reed handle it. But it's his show, right? He can do whatever he wants. He can do what he wants, except the things you can't control. And let's face it, most people in the live stream chat, they're not experts in anything. They're banning them. You're not going to lose too much. Most of you don't matter. Oh boy, it's not a big loss. Doug faces towards the Capitol and prays 5 times a day. Yeah, some people feel that way. Now, don't get me wrong. I think there's a rich history in Washington, D.C., in that area. I mean, we went there last year. It was fun, great. But to me, even immigrants, refugees coming across at a non-port of entry, just walking across, to me, that's 1,000 times, I'll use 1,000 times worse than breaking a window at the Capitol and walking in. So if you lean left and you don't have to agree with me, but if you can understand the perspective that my moral intuitions are more repulsed by private businesses being robbed and vandalized and people coming into the country and then leeching off the public dime, that bothers me way more than what happened on January 6th. And then I understand your point of view, but the democracy, got to save the democracy. For some reason, people on the left think that you got to say the magic words, I concede the election, and then everything's okay. Doesn't matter that Trump left, but without saying those words. Trump is a narcissist. He's not going to say those words. He hates losing. To me, actions speak louder than words. In general. I know words can be hurtful. They can be. I understand. Greenback says, yeah, I agree. Most of you people don't matter. That's, as a father, that's one thing that you need to teach your kids. That in the big scope of the world, you don't matter. You got to teach your kids this so they don't have this sense of entitlement and I'm special. No, you're special to mom, and dad. You're special to your brother and sister. You're special to grandpa and grandma. But in the big scope of things, you need to earn respect. You just don't get it for being a human. See, that's another difference between me and a lot of people on the left. They totally disagree with that. But at least you understand where I'm coming from. Oh, I didn't pin the link, did I? Let me pin it. But yeah, like with the hush money case, why wasn't it brought to court 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 2 years ago? Why on an election year? Blue state, jury leans left, judge leans left. I mean, you really think there would be a conviction if that same case was held in Nevada, a purple state, or even Arizona, a purple state? Maybe, I doubt it. So this is why a lot of people on the right, and they look at this and go, no. In fact, some view it as a pride thing. I don't think it's a pride thing, but oh yeah, let's elect a felon. That's kind of cool. I do think black men in the United States are going to, and of course independents, are going to determine this election. I've been scouring YouTube looking for new channels and so forth. There's a lot of black male conservatives out there. A lot. Like Trump, the white supremacist, has, I think, the highest degree of support from minorities in decades and decades and decades. Maybe Reagan had a bit more, but isn't that funny? This white supremacist that the left calls him has so much support from minorities. Does it make it harder to respect Peter when he gets emotional like he did? Well, compared to me, most people are emotional, so I'm used to it. But no, I mean, I knew that going in, so nothing changed. He just really hates a strong word. Maybe he does hate Nathan. And Nathan is not free of all guilt either. I mean, to come on with a wig on and stuff. Come on, Nathan. You know you're trolling at that point. Like people wanted me to do that with Cameron. And I remember, it's live. You can look back and I'm going, no. The thing is, I didn't even want to talk to Cameron. I wanted to talk to Sai. I understand Cameron doesn't like me. And that's fine. I understand, but I think people should have some specialness given to them for being human and idling right. No, I agree, Mexican. I'm a speciesist. I give value to Homo sapiens over other primates and mammals in the animal kingdom. Like, fun fact, if someone told me if I don't kill my dog that I love, human being, let's say not a serial rapist or criminal, just an average human being in the United States will die, I'd give my dog's life for my fellow man. So I do value Homo sapiens. But I would not give my dog's life for some serial killer or rapist or pedophile. In fact, I would use my dog on the pedophile and do damage to the pedophile. I actually like trolling if they're funny. I mean, if they make me laugh. There's many cases where people have trolled me, but they've made me laugh. But the worst type of troll is just the very, very stupid ones. The smart ones are clever and they they will either say or do things that will give me a chuckle. And I salute you. I like philosophically nuanced, realpolitik. Yeah. Doug, are you feeling the pull to cultural Christianity? No, B.S. Lewis. I mean, people can agree on certain things and they can call themselves Christian and I can call myself an atheist and we can agree on things. Does that make me a cultural Christian? No. Now, some people disagree with that and they say, yeah, it does. Maybe it makes them a cultural atheist, a cultural naturalist. I could just flip the script on them. But I don't hate Christians. I hate Muslims. I don't hate any group. Just de facto that they're what they are. It's actions that if I disagree with, and if it's strong enough, that's when I start to use the word hate or severe dislike. I even like woke progressives sometimes. Because they can do good things sometimes, right? But it's really hard for a woke progressive to say they like a right winger, a MAGA person. Like they just, that's where the emotions come into play. Like their emotions are so high that they just can't concede a thing. It's just like, oh, you're a right winger? Evil. You watch Fox News? You're stupid. You know, stuff like that. What does he mean by harassed? I don't know, Dylan. You're talking about Peter being harassed? I don't think he was talking about Nathan when he used the word harassed. He was talking about somebody else. But that's none of my business. But yeah, if someone started harassing my family, like actually coming, finding my family, oh yeah, then we're starting to talk about hate, getting the law involved and that sort of thing. Jamie says the wig thing was immediately a losing strategy and pretty stupid. Well, it was comedy at that point for Nathan. I'm sure of it. It was just comedy. How's my audio, by the way? Am I good? I think I'm good, right? Yeah. I'm in the yellow zone, not the red. But like from Nathan's perspective, his main beef with Peter is that Peter doesn't have experts in the field that oppose his view, that he only gives one side of it. And then Peter's perspective is, well, these experts don't want to come talk to me. And then from Nathan's perspective, well, that's because they don't want to be associated with this vileness. And I mean, it's a big mess. Uber Scheiser, I'm considering becoming a cultural Christian. I think attending a good church would be good for my son, and I can explain to him the BS parts after the service. Yeah. That sounds reasonable to me. Especially if you want community. Nathan really doesn't like that whole Hungary thing that Peter did. Yeah, I actually don't know the details of that. But I don't know what I would do. Like, let's imagine it's 1942 and Hitler invited me to talk about, I don't know, discounted cash flow. Would I do it? Let's say it has nothing to do with the war, nothing to do with Nazism. But Hitler offered me, I don't know, $100,000 to do a 1-hour presentation on how to discount future cash flows to the present. I mean, why not? Oh, guilt by association. He's an evil man. You can't talk about anything with evil men. Best denomination for cultural Christianity. I would stay away from the progressive type Christian churches, especially if you want to. If it's for family purposes and community. First of all, most progressive type churches, they don't have kids. Like most of the Christian queer community go to progressive type churches so they can feel loved and not judged. And then most of them don't have kids. So if Uber Scheiser has a son and wants to, you want to go to that King James version only type church. Do you still have Christian friends that you grew up with? Yeah, of course. I'm going golfing with one. I didn't grow up with him, but I've been friends with him for 30 years, 25 years. What would you say to Hitler if he asked you about marrying a black woman? I would say, I married a black woman. You got a problem with that? And if he says yes, and I'll say, what's your problem with that? Well, you're mixing races. Well, what's the problem with that? I mean, if you want, here's my advice to young men out there. No matter what shade of skin you have, if you want a wife that looks beautiful at age 50, marry a black woman. Black don't crack. I tell my daughter that, and the way I esteem my daughter, I say, you're going to be way better looking than most of these women in like 20, 30, 40 years. I told her, you got thin ankles and you got darker skin. You're gonna look great compared to these white women with thick ankles. They're going to be all crinkly and wrinkly and fat, and you're going to be slender and look 20 years younger than you are. My daughter liked me. She liked me when I said that. What Nathan did? Grayback, where have you been? He kind of trolled. He didn't kind of. He trolled Peter Boghossian when I was on his channel last week. I don't even know what he would have said if he would have got on. But the thing is, okay, but my advice to Nathan, though, trolling aside, is you got to shorten up your questions and your responses and be able to agree to disagree. Like the problem I see on both sides, but I think mostly from the left, is people on the right tend to, not always, tend to boom, boom, to the point, to the point, to the point. Whereas people on the left, they love the word comprehensive. We need comprehensive immigration reform. We need a piece of paper with tons of words on it in order to have real change. That's, I generalize, but if you're a detailed-oriented person, you probably lean left a lot. I would say it's at least 60-40. Can you jump on, Vesta? Yeah, you can jump on. But don't talk like a left-wing progressive and bloviate. Get to the point. Come on and tell me you hate me. And then I'll ask why. I would prefer, you can jump on, Vesna, but I prefer someone who dislikes me a lot to call in. But these people are so scared. I understand Nathan's perspective too, because with Billboard Chris got way too emotional. Billboard Chris, if you ever hear this through the algorithm, like you were so autistic in that moment that you didn't realize that Nathan was trolling you, and you got so emotional about it. So Nathan actually became me and just gave you whatever you wanted, and you didn't like that, and yeah. Paul gave a first-hand witness account of the resurrected Jesus. Obviously, Doug doesn't think he saw the actual resurrected Jesus because he doesn't think Jesus rose from the dead. That's true, Matthew Nitz. Thank you for steelmanning me. I do not believe Paul saw an actual Jesus that walked and talked prior to his death. He might have saw something in a vision or in a hallucination. But even that can easily be doubted. It's more likely Paul was a shyster. There's a couple places in the New Testament where he protests greatly against accusations of him doing it for the money. He says, no, I'm not doing it for the money. Even people back then in New Testament times suspected Paul was doing it for the money. But why are we talking about this? Everybody knows this already. Nathan is an angry young man searching for answers. He attacks a lot of popular right-leaning people. Give him some grace. In a decade or two, he will chill. Yeah, you could be right. I think his anger towards Jordan Peterson stems from that he kind of bought into everything Jordan Peterson was saying and then realized some of it was not good or not true and then felt betrayed. I don't know. But this is why you should never idolize people. How many people saw the flying man fly? Asked Daniel Seamster. Well, the flying man flew in front of 12 of his best friends, his followers, 12 of his best followers. He flew in front of 500, and he flew finally to the author of who told us this. Moving to the right is part of growing up. I was pretty far left when I was young. Yeah, a lot of people on the left hate hearing that, but it's true. You can look at exit polling going back decades and decades and decades, and you'll see that young people tend to vote left, older people tend to vote right. But when you get really old and then you start to get, basically if you don't make money and you're very dependent, if you're a burden financially to society, you'll vote left. If you're in your prime earning years, you tend to vote right. If you're married with kids, you tend to vote right because you want stability. You want to conserve some traditions. If you don't have kids and you're single, you tend to vote left because you need that safety net. If you're a woman, you tend to vote left. If you're a single woman, you definitely will vote left. If you're a single woman without kids and you're queer, almost certainly you'll vote left. If you're a married man with kids and you own your own business, it's almost certainly you'll vote right. That's the way the world works. You vote your interest. After Peterson's interview with Alex O'Connor, I'm pretty much over him. Yeah, with Jordan Peterson, it's almost like you got to have paddles, like true, false, yes, no, and give him the paddles and then ask him questions and say, okay, here's a challenge for you, Jordan Peterson. You can't talk. All you have to do is raise paddles. Oh, he would be so handcuffed. He would know what to do. He would refuse to do that. Jordan Peterson, are you over the age of 20? Yes. It depends what you mean by 20. But unlike a lot of people, I can take the good, in my opinion, from Jordan Peterson and leave the bad. A lot of people can't do that. Mr. Deity does that with me. He ignores the bad in me from his point of view, and he just cherishes the good. Depends what you mean by paddles. Nobody wants to call in? Vesna, you can call in. But you're probably just going to complain about Nathan, right? That's okay. Well, you can complain about Nathan. So yeah, I'm waiting to see, like, after a week or so, the polling on Trump and Biden. That's going to change it all. My guess is it's not going to change, but maybe Biden will get a slight bump, or maybe Trump will get a slight bump. I don't know. I would love for someone to call in who thinks that, you know, Trump being convicted as a felon is a big, big deal. I mean, I would love to talk to someone who thinks that. Do man versus bear. How about we do bear versus trans woman? As soon as I hear a woman pick bear over man, I think, oh, how sad she's been physically abused. Here's Vesna. Do you think the right is less altruistic than the left? No. I think well, it depends what you mean. I'll pull a Jordan Peterson. Depends what you mean by altruistic, but it's a known fact that the right gives more money to charities than the left. Isn't that a fact, Vesna? Are you ready, Vesna? She's figuring things out. See, people on the left tend to view their taxes as giving to charity. The government should be in charge of giving money to poor people. Vesna, can you hear me? I see you. But I don't think she can hear me or see me. She's refreshing, I think. I think because the left tends to lean more female than the right, they have more empathy and compassion, a certain type of empathy and a certain type of compassion. It's more of the soft love versus hard love. But that can be a huge danger too, because if you start valuing people's feelings more than truth,
Hi.
that can be a problem. Hey, Vesna, I can hear you now.
Hey. Oh, good. You can hear me. I can hear you. Sorry, I was like, I know you just have a short time, so I'm calling because the thing that you're talking about is something that I have been like dying to hear you talk about or knock around ideas. Now, am I frozen? Because it looks to me like my picture is frozen.
Yeah, I can't see you, but you're coming in. Your audio is very good.
Okay, let me come out and come back in. Okay.
You're fine. Like, okay, she left. I think you're right that people are entitled and angry. Yeah, and that's all about expectations that are not given by their parents.
Hi.
Okay, so you want to talk about Nathan and Peter, is my guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought the wig was hilarious, but ridiculous. It's childish, and what's the point? But still pretty funny.
I'll show your face today. How's that?
Yeah. I'm in my cabin, my green screen cabin.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
You don't want to show your real cabin.
Right. Well, the real cabin is exists on a green screen.
Okay, so what did you want to say
So
about Peter or Nathan?
yeah, thank you for bringing me back. Where's my notes? Back to the list.
You have
Uh,
notes on Peter and Nathan? Oh my.
yeah, because I mean, you have to get out there and get your heat stroke, so I don't want to
Okay.
slow you down from that. I thought that the Alex O'Connor interview was very interesting. Did you see it? It was
I
several months
saw
ago.
I saw maybe, I don't know, half an hour of it. And all I saw
Ah,
is Alex O'Connor trying to pull Jordan Peterson's teeth out. Like it's and Jordan Peterson said
what?
no, no, no. I mean, it's just it was so painful to
Oh,
watch.
I was talking about Alex and Peter.
Oh, Alex and Peter. Sorry.
Yeah,
uh, no, I don't think I did.
it was very, it was very, very interesting. Now, I have a degree in philosophy, and I was surprised by I guess I just bring it out to say, so I know that like Alex has been studying philosophy, so anybody who goes on his show who was a philosophy professor will know that. And so it was odd that when Alex brought up Wittgenstein, Peter made a big deal about, oh, you know about this and that, and he was just bringing up like rudimentary points that anyone who had studied the amount of, like, the first thing that you know about Wittgenstein, he's going to know. So that was odd to me. Also, but the other thing that's easier to explain and defend is the amount of name dropping that Peter does that I never noticed before, but now I can't
Ah,
unsee it.
so
Like
you're
everybody
judging
is,
him as being insecure, and he needs to name drop in order to get social status.
well, you're drawing conclusions.
I'm trying to move it along.
No, yes, but what I notice is, yeah, right, is what I've noticed. Here's the pattern that the lower status or perceived status person Peter is talking to, the more name dropping he does.
Did he name drop
So
when I was on? Oh yeah, a little bit. I think he
not
did.
not nearly as much. So, and of course, this
So that means
status
I
is
got
like
big status
perceived.
then. Yeah, I must have huge status in his
Yeah.
mind. Yeah.
Well, he did a bit. Like, he said, who was it? He said he's one of my dearest, dearest friends. But with Alex, it was like every other. Also, it was a longer stream. Maybe it was just the way that it came across. But everybody was like a dear friend of mine. I've known him for many years. My buddy, so and so, and then using people by first names, and he's talking about like important or like very famous people. So, and now I can't think of the examples, but I just wanted to put that up there because I've never heard anybody mention that before, that everybody is
But why is
my
this
buddy.
relevant?
Okay. It's relevant. Thank you, Doug. Um,
I got to bring you philosopher types. I got to reel you back into reality.
yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. Um, I ever since the kerfluffle, that the blueberry gate, I'm gonna call it, when Peter called in on Nathan's show and with a
Oh.
mouthful of blueberries, and he said, "Oh no, blueberries," and then he proceeded to, you were on the stream, you know which one I'm talking about, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and for those for our listening audience, the thing that was going round and round was Peter saying, no one who disagrees with me will talk to me. And Nathan's saying, how about that list of people that I gave you? And um, and that was like, just imagine that going back and forth. And finally culminating in Peter saying, um, okay, give me people to talk to and I'll talk to them. And by the way, this was when Peter was accusing Stephen Woodford Rationality Rules of
I'm not
blowing
talking
the
to
line,
him, but then that was a
pretending.
big misunderstanding, I
Well, this
think.
was before, right, the big, okay, it was like emails got lost in the mail both ways. Now,
Yeah.
I came into that video, at the beginning of that video, my belief, my assumption and my belief was that it was just a mix up on both ends, and that
Yeah,
everybody
and then
was acting in good faith.
they eventually talked to each other, and then Rationality Rules was upset that Peter was just acting as a moderator, wouldn't actually talk to him.
Yeah, right. So at the beginning of that video, that was what I thought, and I have been a huge admirer of Peter for I for years. I had even like I said to my son, "Wow, he's like the
But you're not
person who can."
anymore.
Yeah, I have more. Okay,
No, no, no.
it was that.
Are
What
you still an admirer of Peter?
I sadly okay, I admire some of the work he's done, like the grievance studies. But other than that, my hero had feet of clay. I admire the work, the attention. See, now this is why I want to talk to you, Piney, because
Tiny.
um as they say, because that I agree with so many of his points of view. Here's where I seek your counsel. Okay, so I'm going to set this up here. As a person, I have seen him be intellectually dishonest and rude and other things that are, these are my observations. I've observed things that
Okay, and of course that's your
whatever
opinion.
is the opposite of admire.
Okay, and of course you got to state that this is your opinion that he's intellectually
This is,
dishonest, because I'm sure he would say, "Give me an example," and then he would disagree with you. But okay, go
that's
on.
right. Right. So I have seen him, in my opinion, and I believe I can make a good case for it, um, that I have seen him engage in intellectual cowardice and like internal dishonesty. And so, what are the reasons? That's a whole another story. Now, the um, the the part, however, just about every opinion that he holds, I also hold, like position, I mean.
Okay.
And so this has resulted. Okay, here's the psychological part that you may be interested in, I hope. That
Well,
what
so
this
far I'm
has
not
resulted
interested
in
in any of
is
this. So you gotta get
okay.
cut to the chase quickly, because
I gotta
there's some
thank
questions I
you.
could ask you.
Okay, all right. When I criticize or call out some inconsistencies, let's say, some hypocrisy on Peter's channel, I get piled on by Peter's fans who will say things like, for example, I'll make this example as quick as you can. Peter, I'll say, Peter says, Peter continually says that no one who disagrees with me will talk to me, but that's not true. And then I give the example of Stephen Woodford, and I did this on that particular video. Stephen saying, please, will you
Okay,
talk
I
to
got to
me?
stop you there, because
And he says no.
I get the same criticism, because when first of all, did Peter actually say nobody will talk to me? Or
Yes,
and even if he does say that, do you actually believe that that's what he means, that 100%, or is he actually saying 99% or 98% won't talk to him, or 97? Like, you got to
that
give him some
that
grace. And I get
good
frustrated when
example.
people give me zero grace like that too. Like, they think
Mhm.
every single time you got to qualify it with most or some or whatever. People just talk, and
As you
then
know,
yeah.
right. As I've said, I was a big admirer of him, and so I did give him lots of grace. And so I combed interviews of him, looking for where he says that and what it sounds like he's saying. Is he just being hyperbolic?
Yeah.
And and so sadly and reluctantly, I've come to the conclusion that he is stating something that is objectively false.
Okay, yeah. See, if it's something like nobody will ever talk to me, like I listen to that and I think, okay, that's hyperbole. Because I disagree on Peter on some things, but he
Yeah,
talks to me,
sure.
and of course he talks to
That's
rationality
true.
rules, and so I don't take that in my mind to say 100% of the time if there's any disagreement, nobody ever talks to me. Like that's hyperbole, and if you're not
Right.
autistic, you see that.
That's true. So really the point is, well, that's up for debate, but the so he's not really saying that, but the hypocrisy part, yeah, that is 100%, that's not 100%. So really the important part is that he has on multiple occasions refused to open up dialogue with people who are really on different sides of him on some of the biggest issues that are his big issues.
Would you say he
Like,
never does that?
would I say he never does
He
that?
never talks to
Would I?
people, that he never opens up dialogue with people he disagrees with? Because I disagree with that.
I
If you say
Okay.
never.
Can you give me
Well,
okay
well,
consistently?
his spectrum street epistemology, I would say, is a type of opening up of dialogue
Hmm.
with people that he disagrees with. There's times where Reed is the moderator and he's playing the game along with other people that he disagrees with. Now, if you're saying it's more like people from,
Consistently. Let's say that.
well, but that's so
And
subjective.
besides, okay, plus, all right, so spectrum street epistemology is one thing because that's just some person on the street. But what he is, and that's just some person on the street, and then there will be some other person on the street on the other side of that horseshoe.
What are you doing?
But what I'm washing a quilt. That was why I would have like come
You're
on better
washing
if
a
I
quilt with your feet?
yes, just like Lucy and the grapes. So
You'd make a
it's
good
a very old
wife.
quilt. You can't put it in a washing
Are
machine.
you married, Vesna? You'd
You
make a
have
great
to.
wife. I mean, like if you clean my garments with your own feet, I mean, that's love.
Yeah, my I just celebrated my 32nd wedding anniversary on Saturday,
Oh, wow.
and so and watched my son graduate on stage upstage from high school yesterday.
Was it your first and only husband?
First and only husband, first and only child.
Wow. See, this is more interesting to me than
Takes
Peter.
32 years to get all this done. and
Okay, I
the quilt is 32 years old.
you're
But
you're a smart person,
okay,
Vesna, and I actually am getting bored about talking about Peter, but can I run some hypothetical? I got a new hypothetical that I did on Discord the other day, and I want to
okay,
run it by you.
okay, okay. Can I have one question still in my hopper for you. This is a question directed for you.
Okay, shoot.
Um, by the way, the thing that I wanted you to help me with was being more dead inside about the people who think that because I criticize some personal things about Peter, it means that I disagree with his position. But anyway, and the people who think that I'm a
What's your
paid.
question to me?
The question to you is, what do you say to those detractors of yours
Hmm.
who say that the reason you were so nice to Peter and let him get away with his BS, that from their point of view, the other
Hmm.
night, is because you are sucking up to him
Hmm.
because he has a bigger platform and he will open doors or whatever for you. What do you
Oh,
say to
okay.
those
Okay, I understand your question. Two thoughts come into my head. The first thought is that I want to say is, well, he cut me a check for 10,000. I'm going to do whatever he wants.
people?
That's one way I could answer. And I said, well, wouldn't you do it for 10,000? You suck up to him.
You bet.
Yeah, the other answer is, it's his show, for goodness sake. Like I'm not going to purposely be rude, and I did push back, but it's never enough. It's never enough for the detractors. Like I
Yep.
remember I got the same criticism when I interviewed Robert Price, and the things I disagreed with him, I
Yep.
pushed back. But you didn't do it strong enough. I mean, you should have swore at him, Doug, because he's a racist, and you should have swore at Peter because he might not be a racist, but he's bad. I mean, he's a hypocrite. So you need to have said to his face, Doug, you're a hypocrite. That's what you should have done, Doug. I mean, these people have no idea. Like I'm a pretty much a numbers guy, finance guy, but I know how to talk to people way better than most of these people in the live stream chat.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's it. I was assuming stuff like that. I just wanted to hear you say it because when people were saying that about you on Nathan's channel the other night, I just thought it was so ridiculous. I'm sure Nathan doesn't think that. I assume, but it's like these people. And by the way, it also kind of fits in with my thing that people are like, okay, you've been around. You're 53, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that this is a newer thing that people just cannot separate how they feel about, like everything is black and white? Like if somebody is on your side in your tribe, then no criticism is allowed of that person. And if you criticize somebody, then it must mean that you disagree with everything about them.
Yeah, I don't see that
Like
happening
people
too
think
much. Yeah, I don't see that happening as much as other YouTube channels. But Vesna, you need to just let go of people who pile on you. Because you're a mature lady. You've seen the world. You realize most of
I've
these
seen
are
it.
kids in their 20s who don't know anything, right?
I'm still waiting for my check from Nathan because supposedly I'm his spy.
Okay, I want you
So
to
maybe
pretend.
I'm a bot.
I want you to pretend
Okay,
you're.
yes, you're hypothetical.
Yeah, I want you to pretend you're a left winger. Okay.
Left wing. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm a left winger. All right.
Okay, you're a left winger.
So am I full on wokey?
Yeah, not full on, but let's say majority wokey.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a completely new topic. So the hypothetical is
Yay.
about voting, and so here's the hypothetical. I got insider information. Oh, and if the FBI and CIA are listening in, this is a hypothetical thought experiment. This is not real life, okay? CIA people listening in. Okay, but I got insider information that tens and tens of thousands of Republicans are planning to commit voter fraud this November.
Okay.
They're going to go into swing states, and they're going to get like thousands and thousands and thousands of non-citizens to vote, and they're going to get people, some of these non-citizens, to vote like hundreds of times or thousands of times through ballot stuffing and that sort of thing. Okay. So question number one for you, left woke person: do you want that to stop? Do you want to prevent that? These are all Republicans.
Okay. If I am
lean yes, lean no.
Marxist? Okay. Depends on what kind of left. Am I a Marxist?
No. You're not a Marxist.
I'm not a Marxist.
No.
Okay. Because Marxist, I would say, yes, let them do it because it'll bring about the collapse of society.
Okay. No. You're not a Marxist.
Okay. So I'm a good-hearted left.
You're a good-hearted left-wing Democrat.
Left wing.
And I just told you insider information that there's going to be huge Republican voter fraud. Okay, of course, you want to prevent that, right? What sort of things would you propose we do to prevent this?
Like me personally, or like if society could implement things. Yeah,
your opinion on your recommendation to society on how to prevent these Republicans from committing voter fraud.
Okay, well, number one, I think we should go back to paper ballots because they are less fungible.
This is a left winger speaking now. You want paper ballots. What else?
Okay, I want paper ballots, and I want. Yeah, but I'm earnest. I'm in good faith, right? Yeah, I want paper ballots, and I want congressional investigations, like congressional hearings.
No, you want to. This is not after the fact. We want to prevent it from happening in the first place.
Yeah, well, the people who are like organizing these cabals or what have you should be investigated. Perhaps,
Okay, but we
perhaps
don't know who
organize
they
a
are.
recall.
We don't know who they are.
Oh, we
How
don't
do you
know who they
prevent the
are.
voter fraud?
How do you prevent voter fraud? Okay. Um,
Paper ballots.
well, paper ballots is number one.
Maybe ID that matches with some state or federal identification at the polling stations.
Well, I know it's not a left-wing position, but I don't see why it's so terrible.
Okay, so
Um,
voter
and
ID.
yeah, and where I vote in Madison, Wisconsin, they have lists of the voters who are supposed to vote at that place, and then they cross off your name on this paper list that they have with your address after you voted. So I think that helps. And then what
And
other kind of voter
maybe
fraud?
no
Well, I
mail-in
think
voting.
what
Maybe no mail-in
that
voting. Is that what you said earlier? Paper
no mail-in
ballots?
voting. I did not say no mail-in voting.
Okay,
When by paper I meant no touchscreen voting.
I
I mean,
see.
when you show up, then you um you fill in a paper ballot.
Okay,
Not
so
yeah.
this is the point of this thought experiment because
Mail-in voting, I think, is fine. I don't have a problem with that because you just make sure that that person's vote cannot be voted twice. Now, how do we know that it was really from that real person? Well, how do I know that
you look like an amputee
some
right now.
voting person? I know, isn't that weird? So it's because of
Okay,
my face.
but here's the point of the
Yeah.
hypothetical because I think
Okay.
most reasonable people would
Go
say
to it, Doug. Go
most
to the
people
point.
most people would say that voter fraud actually does happen, but it's so rare and so it's not a big deal. And if it does happen, it's a wash. You know, Republicans and Democrats would like to do it.
That's what I've
But
heard.
but in this thought experiment, what I'm saying is that it's all done from the Republican side, and so you want to prevent it. Now, some people on the left are going to say, well, you don't have to do anything. The system's already in place that it cannot happen. And it cannot happen to have massive voter fraud because when you check the box, it says you're a U.S. citizen. People can actually check it out and confirm that you're you're a U.S. citizen. And I would question whether that's true or not. Now, if for a
Thought of another one.
what?
Chain of custody on those physical ballots, because there has been fraud like that in Wisconsin where a race turns out one way and suddenly bags of paper ballots are discovered in somebody's hatchback. So
Okay,
chain of custody and
but the point is
that's a thought.
that people on the left, when they actually want to stop voter fraud coming from the right, they will actually espouse techniques that people on the right want. So I think the things you mentioned, like voter, the things we both mentioned. But for the people who say no, voter fraud doesn't really happen, it's the second thought experiment, and this is, I think, this is a thought experiment that should become reality. I think we should get 10,000 non-U.S. citizens, non-citizens in this country, like green card holders and so forth. We should give them immunity. The Democrats and the Republicans give 10,000 people immunity, and then we charge them with the task of voting illegally on purpose and to see if they can get away with it. And then we track the results. Now, if it's true, if what the left is saying is true, that the system's already in place, that voter fraud's next to impossible to do, then I would love to see the results of that. How many of those votes get through of the 10,000? And
what party?
Yeah, or in what state and so forth. As you can track, you can go all over the United States. Now, some people say, well, it's maybe going to be 1%. That's their intuitions will say, maybe 1% of the 10,000 will get through. Others might say it's 80% will get through. Now,
I love it.
If it's anywhere above north of 50 or even north of 30%, I think that's a huge problem. But we don't even know if it's a problem unless we run this test. And I'm calling upon all members of the Senate and Congress, if they ever hear this, to implement this plan. Because what this actually is what Peter Boghossian did, to bring it back to Peter, he put in these
With the
false,
studies.
grievance studies. He put in these false papers into different journals and to see if the peer review process was actually legit. I'm saying we need to do the same thing with voting. Let's purposely give 10,000 or 100,000, whatever we can do, immunity, and then we'll subtract their votes if they get through back out. But then let's see how robust the system is. Give people license to cheat on purpose and see if the system catches them. And my intuition say that a huge percentage will get away with it, because there's some states where it's against the law to even prove that you're a U.S. citizen.
I think that we should do.
I got like 5 minutes left.
I think we should do it with 100,000 people. To get, if we're gonna do it, if you're gonna do it all over the place, I think if you're gonna do 10,000, you should do one state.
But this is the problem with this idea, and the problem is, can you imagine what would happen if we ran that experiment? Let's say it's 10,000, and 9,500 people get away with it. Only 500 get caught out of the 10,000. That puts into question every election going back for decades.
Well, we just have to move forward and fix it. That's all we can do.
So some people might say we cannot run this experiment because if you make a greater good argument that the results of the experiment would be, if it goes against, if it's bad, it could cause anarchy. It could cause a revolution. It could cause civil war.
Yeah. Well, I think we have to deal with it. I think that if there is a big problem of election fraud, we need to find out whether or not there is.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. If there's a problem in our nation, such as election fraud, we have a duty to find out and fix it. And we do not.
And the beauty. Yeah, we have an obligation to do it, but
to the Americans.
The beauty of this idea is that even if you lean left and you're the type of person who says the system's are already in place, Doug, like you don't have to worry. Yes, fraud happens, but it's so rare. Well, if you do a test like this and it comes out to only like 5 people cheated and got away with it out of 10,000, then you can scream at the Republicans, say, voter fraud doesn't happen to any large extent. Non-citizens are not going to vote because the systems are in place to catch them. So don't worry. Stop being so worried and scared. The left now have license to scream this at the top of their lungs, say, hey, you Republicans, shut up. Why are you worried about non-citizens voting? Because it's not happening. And then they can point to a test like this and say, see?
Here's where we may differ, maybe. I think that left or right, if the intellectually dishonest people will have the same reaction based on, you just flip the valences. I don't think this is a left-wing problem that you're talking about. I think it's the culture of the time.
No, I'm talking about the complaining that like there's people on the right, Republicans who want to have new laws and so forth to make sure non-citizens can't vote, and people on the left saying, well, they can't vote. I mean, the system's already in place. They can't. So
they already can't vote.
Yeah, what are you guys freaking out about? But if you run the test that I'm proposing, I mean, this is good hard evidence, because you're telling people, you're giving them immunity. You're basically hiring convicts to try to break into a bank with permission to see how good the bank security is.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
Anyhow, I gotta go. I gotta let you go. I gotta wrap this up.
Okay, so stripping it down, wrapping it up, I say, Doug, strip it down to the nuts and bolts and just say the people who, I think that your mistake here is thinking that it's about something that's happening on a particular side. Just strip it down to one side says there's a problem and we need more laws. The other side says, no, we don't. We already have the system. We find evidence in some good way to determine if there is or is not really a problem. And then the people who never thought there was a problem will continue to think that, and the people who thought that it was a problem will continue to think that. It will only change the minds of the intellectually honest.
Okay, have a good day. What do you guys think? Was that a good idea, a good test? I wonder how many people on the left would actually be okay with that. To hire and give full immunity to 10,000 non-citizens in the United States to vote on purpose and see if they can get away with it. How about a credit check to be able to vote? Oh, if you do credit checks, so many people wouldn't be able to vote. The Democrats wouldn't have a chance. If you look at the top 10 states that have the highest debt per capita, 8 out of the 10 are Democratic states. Democrats like to spend money and go into debt. Fact check me. 8 out of 10, I think. I think only North Dakota, for some strange reason, was in there, and what was the other state? Texas, maybe? But on a state level, per capita, Democratic states have the most debt. Fun fact. Have a great day, guys. Hopefully I'll see you in the future.